Ready for a deep dive? I'm talking a deep, deep dive into the heart of Buddhist thought.
Let's do it.
Today, we're cracking open a text that's about as foundational as it gets in the Buddhist tradition, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta.
Ah, yes. This one's a big one. It's like the bedrock.
Seriously. And for any listeners out there who, maybe just stumbled across this whole world of Buddhist teachings, this deep dive is for you.
Absolutely. And you know what's kind of cool about all this? One of our listeners actually discovered this very sutta, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, on a website called eBuddha.net.
Which, by the way, eBuddha.net, amazing resource.
It's a goldmine. Seriously, if you're at all interested in Buddhism,
Bookmark it.
bookmark it. You'll thank us later. But anyway, back to the sutta. First things first, what are we even talking about when we say sutta?
Right, because I'm guessing not everyone's got a working knowledge of ancient Buddhist terminology.
Well, think of a sutta like, how about this? A lecture transcript.
Oh, okay. Or maybe like a sermon, even.
Exactly. Someone was there to capture those words, and bam, we've got a sutta.
So in this case, we have what's basically a recording of the Buddha's first teaching after he reached enlightenment.
Think about that for a second. His very first teaching.
Talk about a mic drop moment.
So the guy sits down and says,
All right, let's have it. What's the big reveal?
he starts talking about suffering.
Suffering. Okay. So, Bummer City after enlightenment.
Not quite. Look, we're not talking about stubbing your toe suffering here.
Okay, so more than just your average everyday annoyance.
Right. The Buddha's talking about this deep existential kind of suffering, the kind that's woven into the fabric of existence.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but don't leave us hanging. So he drops this truth bomb about suffering, then what?
Then he lays out a path, a way out, if you will.
Mhm.
He introduces us to the Four Noble Truths.
Here we go. And they are?
The first noble truth. Life is inherently filled with dukkha, which is often translated as suffering, but it's more nuanced than that. Think of it as unsatisfactoriness or stress. It's acknowledging that no matter how good things get, there's always going to be some level of,
Lifing.
lifing. I like that.
Okay.
So that's truth number one. What about the rest of this enlightening quartet?
So the second noble truth digs into the root cause of all this lifing. And what is it, you ask?
Hit me with it. Craving. Attachment, that insatiable thirst for more, more, and more. We're constantly chasing after things we think will make us happy, clinging to experiences, and guess what?
It backfires.
Big time. Because that very clinging, that attachment, is what keeps the cycle of dukkha spinning.
All right, so we've got the problem, we've got the cause. What's next on the noble truth top four?
Here's where things get really good. The third noble truth is a message of hope. It says that liberation from suffering, totally possible.
Okay, I'm definitely here for a bit of hope. So how do we get there? What's the secret sauce?
And for that, my friend, we have the fourth noble truth, the Eightfold Path. This is the Buddha's, step-by-step guide to achieving liberation.
8 steps, huh? Sounds manageable, maybe. But seriously, what does this path actually involve?
It's all about cultivating wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Basically, it's a complete transformation of how we think, speak, act, and even how we make a living.
Right, right. And it's not just about, meditating on a mountaintop.
Right. It's about how we live every single moment.
It's about bringing that mindfulness, that intention, into everything we do.
Exactly. From the most mundane tasks to our biggest decisions, the Eightfold Path is about showing up as our best selves in each and every moment.
Wow. Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here. From the Sutta, which, by the way, is laid out in this really cool format in the PDF we're looking at.
Oh, yeah. Have you noticed all those interesting symbols and stuff?
Right. It's even the presentation is significant. So, what's the deal with that?
Well, remember, we're dealing with a text that was originally written in Pali, an ancient Indian language. Those visual elements, they're reminders of the language, the history, the lineage of these teachings.
Wow. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. These words, this wisdom, has been passed down for centuries. And here we are all these years later, still grappling with the same fundamental questions about life, suffering, and finding peace.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? And that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it, right? The Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta isn't just some dusty old scroll. It's a living, breathing teaching that still speaks to the human experience no matter what century you're living in.
So if you're listening to this and feeling inspired, I highly recommend checking out the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta for yourself on eBuddha.net. It's amazing how these ancient teachings can feel so incredibly relevant to our modern lives.
Absolutely. And who knows, you might just find that diving into this sutta unlocks a whole new way of seeing the world.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time.
Peace out.